Hey, how is everybody doing? I hope we woke up in somewhat of a good mood for Vikings fans. I'm looking out for you guys everywhere today. If you see a Vikings fan, give him a hug. Make sure he's feeling all good. But we got a ton of videos coming out to you guys today, so stay with me all day. I'm going to have about 3-4 videos coming about today about what happened. But obviously, it's Monday, so we do who showed up, who didn't for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to give you the three guys who I felt showed up better than anybody, and the three guys who really were the reason why the Vikings did not come out of Arizona with a win. Who showed up, who didn't. We were going to do stock up, stock down, but remember I had who showed up, who didn't last year. So that's what we're going to do. Like the video. Can kind of be a purple pain family together. So subscribe down below. Let's get into it right now. Who showed up, who didn't. The first player who showed up to me was the entire Minnesota Vikings offensive line. They set the tone right away in the game. That's the first thing I noticed. That's the first thing Ron Johnson was noticing. If you guys were listening to the Fox call the entire time, I mean, they were great as a unit. They were moving a very good Cardinals defensive line. If you put context on the situation, this Minnesota Vikings offensive line was ridiculed. They were, the penalties. Everybody was just, getting on them the entire game. Cousins was barely touched the entire afternoon. They were moving J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. They were going up against a monster of a defensive line who was coming off hot. I'm going to have more videos on it way throughout the week, but who showed up first off was the offensive line. Secondly, Danielle Hunter's back. He's the second guy who showed up. 3 sacks. He was phenomenal in the run game as well. That's the Danielle Hunter we know. That's the Danielle Hunter that's going to go still make his first team All-Pro this year and still be the comeback player of the year like I called before the season started. He's a monster. He's unguardable if he's one-on-one. He's starting to get his swagger back. He just needs to get this game under his belt, and now he's going to dominate the rest of the season. Danielle Hunter was great yesterday. I mean, he just absolutely dominated that the right tackle for the Arizona Cardinals. He had pressures, great in the run game. That one play where he grabbed Kyler with one arm on the sack and just kind of reeled him back in. That was incredible. I thought Danielle Hunter played one of his best games I have seen, honestly, since the Saints wild card game back 2 years ago when he had a sack and a half and he dominated the run game as well. That was just everything that I love about Danielle Hunter and this Minnesota Vikings defensive line. There's a lot more we need to talk about, though. But Danielle Hunter, if you're talking about an individual performance on that defensive line, he was fantastic yesterday. He was dominant. He was everything what an elite edge rusher should be in the NFL. Great to have 99 back. And my third guy is Kirk M. Cousins, because that dude has 2 game-winning drives, and he's 0-2. I get the offense wasn't that explosive in the second half. I get, the whole argument, they need to stay consistent. The offense hung 33 points on a very good Cardinals team. They did what they needed to do. I wish, yes, they would have finished a couple more drives in the second half. I think they got complacent a little bit. But, that's football. When you come out and have the first half that he did, taking the shot to KJ, having that one where he's rolling out to his left, he was running a little bit. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. When the play is on script and it's on money, there's no other quarterback in the NFL besides Brady I think I would rather have than Cousins. And then, yes, when it's off script, that's when Cousins can struggle. That's when Cousins is not, who he is when it's on script, obviously. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not Patrick Mahomes off script. But yesterday he was. He had that one where he's rolling out to his left, stepping up in the pocket. I thought his pocket presence was way better than it was. Kirk Cousins balled out. That he has been showing me something these past 2 games where I think this Vikings team and this Vikings coaching staff is failing him, and he's not the one failing us. Again, we have a ton of videos coming out this week. There's a lot to talk about, and this is kind of just this is kind of like the summary of what happened. But Kirk Cousins, he showed up yesterday. All right, now getting into who didn't show up. Mike Zimmer. Listen, he's supposed to be a defensive guru. He's supposed to be this defensive mastermind. But I feel like too many times just players are just not in the right spots, and I get it's probably not. I get it's probably not his fault, and this is why this is me. I hate kind of getting on the coach for this because it's not his fault that Patrick Peterson did not understand on that 77-yard touchdown that should be his deep third, and that should be his third zone on the left side of the field, and nobody should get behind you. That's basic cover 3 coverage. They're running a cover 3, and Pat Pete let a guy get behind his head because he wanted to be manned up on DeAndre Hopkins. And Pat Pete had a great game all day long, but that's just a huge mistake that can't happen. And I put a lot of that on the head coach. The Burrow check out of the when the Bengals got the game-winning kick last week. I get everybody else knew what was coming, but 23 didn't, and that's why the tight end snuck out and got the easy field goal for the Bengals kicker. It just feels like there's too many times where it's just like a guy out of place here, and it sucks. I mean, it's tough to kind of wrap your mind around this because if Greg Joseph just hit the 37-yard field goal, this is a whole different conversation. It's a whole different positive conversation. But then again, we shouldn't even be in that spot. We outplayed the Cardinals start to finish. It just feels like when you're the head coach and you find ways to lose games almost, I'm going to have to eventually starting to get on him. So Mike Zimmer, he didn't show up yesterday. He let Kyler Murray go up and down the field for 34 yards whenever he wanted to. Zimmer, he's got to get this defense going again. The second player who didn't show up for me today was, of course, again, Bashaud Breeland. Bashaud Breeland, when I was making videos early on in the year, when I was talking about the Vikings cornerback situation, I never really included him in the kind of rotation. I knew he would get reps, but I just never thought he was going to be that guy, because whenever I think of Chiefs playoffs games in the past couple of years, I just remember Breeland getting cooked over and over again. That's my reputation of Breeland in my head just from watching. Yes, I did not watch every Chiefs game. He probably had good games, but in those big-time games when Chiefs are on national TVs, it always felt like teams are going after him. And that's the thing that we see with the Vikings. Teams realize he is the weak link, and they are attacking him. The two touchdowns, the A.J. Green one and the Jamar Chase one, he's not even getting his hands on these guys. He's not even giving any sort of resistance. We'll get into it all next week. But Bashaud Breeland, terrible again. I mean, he had a couple good plays, but it's about the consistency, and he just does not have that. He did not look good at all yesterday. I mean, he didn't even form any resistance for any of the guys. He did not show up yesterday. Pretty obvious who this third guy is. It's Greg Joseph. I get. You bang those two 52-yarders, and he's hit 3 of them on the year. That is a hard thing to do. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But you are a kicker. Your job is when the game is on the line, you make that kick. And the Vikings are 1-1, and we are feeling a whole different type of way right now. But he missed. He missed bad. Missed by a foot. And that's the difference between winning and losing in the NFL. There's the margin of error in the NFL. We're realizing this is Vikings fans, full on display right now. That is the margin of error, right there between a win and a loss. I don't know what else to make of it. He missed the kick. There it is. That's all it is. The win and the loss. Whoop! Almost knocked over my water. I was getting so mad. The win and loss. He missed the kick. Again, ton of videos coming out this week. Stay with me for this entire day. Who showed up, who didn't. Let me know, guys, what you guys think down below. We got a ton of videos coming out. Again, I've said this like 5 times, but we have a lot to talk about with this Minnesota Vikings team. So I'm not done. This team is not done. This team's not going anywhere. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe to the channel. Skol Vikes. Stay with each other today.